Sex is one of the most beautiful experiences we can have as humans. We live in a culture where everybody carries trauma and shame around sex. People learn how to have sex from porn. And porn is not real sex. Women are often insecure about the way they look, and then men are insecure about the way they perform. Why are we so blocked deeply from our bodies and from ourselves? I went from debilitating pain, lying on that bathroom floor, to then launching a global community for women. There's nothing like it. There's no love like it. And I want all women to have that sisterhood. And that's a big reason why we're building this community. What does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean to be powerful? Oh, this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like to be a woman. What a celebration. How beautiful. I feel at home in myself. What a better use of time to really embrace who you are and explore who you are.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Many Firsts, the podcast where we explore the power of first-time experiences and share transformative and inspirational moments in our lives. I'm your host, Regula Fischer, and I'm super happy to be here today, live in the studio with Anna Lindfors. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for our discussion on the different firsts in my life.
I'm very excited too, because I think there was just another first today, but let's get to that.
Yes.
Just a few words about your background. You're a psychologist, a sexologist, and biohacker, and you're on a mission to empower women around the globe to connect more deeply with their intuition, their femininity, and their sensuality. And you're also a leader in various ventures. Just most recently, and that's what I was referring to, you launched Reflection Lingerie. And definitely want to talk about that. I know that you also love being on the beach, spending time on the beach.
Yes, that's my mental and soul and bodily health. I just the last couple of weeks have been hectic with the launch and flying in different countries and so on. So to me, going to the beach, it just grounds me. It connects me with my feminine, it connects me with my body, and there's something about the sea and the ocean. It just makes me feel small and connected and part of everything. I go there every day.
Every day. So you're usually close to an ocean.
Yeah. So for example, in San Francisco, I go there every day. And that's why it was so funny that just a few days ago, I was in San Francisco grounding by the Pacific Ocean, and then coming here and then doing that again made me a little bit philosophical and kind of just oh, how beautiful is this world that you can we're all just connected by water and
we are. It might be the same water that you met in San Francisco.
I know that traveled while I was traveling. Yeah.
I feel this a lot also with the moon, and I know it's a full moon. It's a full moon for everyone in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah, so just to know that we're connected through these elements, that's beautiful. But you grew up in Finland, right? Was that close to an ocean as well then, or did that come in a bit later in your life?
That actually wasn't. I was a lake girl. If that's how you say, I was a lake girl. If it is a thing, but no, I grew up in the suburbs in Finland, very much a bird's nest. We had a garden, we grew our own vegetables. My family has this beautiful summer house by the lake, so that's what I was used to. And then every summer we would just do sauna and swimming and cook food with fire, and that's what I was used to. It's beautiful. I love it. Every summer I need to do it. We do it with my family.
So you like to be in Finland in summer? How about winter?
There are positives to it. I love ice swimming. I love sauna. I love just feeling that cold air on my face, and then just the beauty of warmth when I go inside. But I'm definitely a child of sun, or a daughter of sun. So I follow the sun. That's where I shine, and I need that sunlight on my skin daily. So maybe that's why I travel.
Yeah, it's interesting what you're saying also about the heat and the cold, right? The sauna is both. And as we know, in life, we have both in many areas. And I would like to dive a bit into, we started now with Finland, where you were born. And then something took you on the path of psychology and sexology and biohacking. And I do see that these three are probably connected. I mean, they are connected in you, but could you take us on the journey that brought these areas into your life and that let you dive deeper into them?
Oh, gosh. How did everything happen? I think, I left Finland when I was 20. I moved to Scotland to study psychology. And then that took me on these incredible adventures. I ended up living in Brazil for a little bit. I developed a rehabilitation program in a youth prison there. And that taught me more about humanity than my entire psychology degree in many ways. Wow. And I lived in Spain. I did a research project in integrative therapy and how powerful touch is. And all these adventures kind of help me heal different layers of myself or help me connect deeper to who I am. I guess how I ended up in sexology or helping people with that is that we live in a culture where everybody carries trauma and shame around sex. Every single person. And it's such a taboo in so many ways. Our parents don't teach us. Schools don't teach us. They just teach you how to use a condom and not get pregnant and show you ugly pictures of STDs. And then when you really zoom out of all of that fear-mongering, that taboo, sex is one of the most beautiful experiences we can have as humans. To me, it's been the most primal I've ever been, the most liberated, the most free, the most spiritual, the most divine. Why are we not talking about this? Why are we so blocked deeply from our bodies and from ourselves? And I think me going through a lot of pain at a young age and completely losing my health when I was 20, I was diagnosed with endometriosis and I had chronic pain to the point that I would just lie on the bathroom floor. I was so nauseous, I would just vomit. No TMI, but anyway. And I would just lie there, just like, how do I deal with this? How do I feel this? And you go into such a survival mode. You don't even think about sex or being sensual or being feminine or anything like that. So for me, everything that I am today is a combination of that professional journey, but then my own health journey, my healing journey of detaching and attaching, unlearning and learning, especially unlearning the performance and masculine, just connecting with my body. And I know I'm totally rambling on this, but to me, it's difficult to even describe going from survival mode to deep healing and feeling anger and feeling all the emotions into tapping into my femininity and the power in that. And going from people pleasing and making myself small to embracing my power as a woman without feeling the need to become a man to be powerful.
Thank you for sharing that. I can see it in your body as you speak. The face changes, the gestures change, the movement changes. Yeah, you wanted to add something, I think, or not?
I don't think so. I mean, I thought about this, and because this podcast is about the first, and then I was like, should I share it? Should I not? But then I was like, if I'm thinking about whether I should, I probably should, because this is like. This is probably the first podcast that I'm doing while I'm on my period, because I do cycle-based living. And usually when I'm on my period, that's a time for reflection and going inwards and kind of isolating, and I feel more antisocial.
Yeah.
But then today I was thinking about, like, I went from debilitating pain, lying on that bathroom floor, to then launching a global community for women, doing a podcast, doing all these things while I'm on my period. What a beautiful thing as a woman to do that and live through these different phases. Usually I isolate, but I'm just so happy to be here and to do this.
This means so much. This means a lot. And I can it resonates a lot with me. And it actually also shows that, back maybe to the theme of water and flow, that things that work for us at some point in time may flow differently at another point in time, right? So this constant, you have the theme of healing also. So it's a constant evolution, we can call it. Flow, finding out, discovering, exploring. So that's the first language also, right? So we find out more and more. You can also say we take off layer after layer after layer, and it's this liberation that you also describe. I think that brought us to today. You mentioned the global community. I would love for you to share about, maybe you start with today, what happened today, and go backwards, or you start where it started, wherever your starting point is.
Where it started. Well, we launched the community today with Regan Hillier and Rima Pester, and they are two incredible women, as you've met them. We became friends through the founder of Mind Valley, Vishen Lakiani, actually. He connected us, and we bonded deeply. We met at one of the Mind Valley events, and especially Regan and I, we just bonded over biohacking and being healthy and doing all these things. And I was on my health journey and she was on her journey. And then we were like, hey, where can we find lingerie and clothing that's actually good for us, that's good for our bodies, that nourishes us? And we couldn't really find any. So then Rima, who's an incredible fashion designer, model, just a gorgeous human being, she joined us and she designed our very first collection of non-toxic lingerie and clothing, and we launched that on main stage at the Future Human event at Mind Valley, and it was gorgeous, it was beautiful. But while we were doing this, and every day I take time to connect with my body and kind of just integrate. And daily, while building the collection, I would just get these downloads of the fifth wave of feminism, the fifth wave of feminism. What does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean to be powerful? And we had a meeting, and I said to the girls that, hey, why don't we do something bigger? Why don't we truly, truly, truly connect women with ourselves, with our feminine, with our sensuality? And they were immediately on board. So while we were building that, while we were launching the collection, we decided to launch a global community for women where we help each other succeed with that we can have it all mentality without the need to abandon ourselves. Because until now, women have been taught in many ways, they've been empowered that you can do it all, be a, badass, boss babe, independent, everything. But that's almost disempowering, because it's telling women that in order for you to be powerful, you need to be masculine, you need to be almost be like men. And I fully understand that, because we came from a time where women didn't have the same freedom as men. And we wanted that. And then we fought for it, and we had those rights. But I think the next level of evolution for both men and women, another first, is empowering the feminine within us all. Empowering collaboration, cooperation, collectively healing and elevating. And that's what our community of Reflection Women is all about. And I'm so excited that today was the first event. We had 100 women just connect in such a beautiful way. And I'm so glad you were part of it.
It's such a joy. My heart is so full. Now my voice is almost going. No, seriously, I don't even know. I sense what's been happening. I know that after the event, we came here like more or less immediately.
Yeah.
So I know that tonight when I'm back, the gratitude is just such a powerful feeling. Yeah. And I thank you deeply for creating this for us.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really feels so
we're getting chills.
there's just love and gratitude I feel for you and for everyone who was part of this today and who will continue to be part of it. And just seeing how the commitment and feeling the energy from everyone, because I think women, I mean, sisterhood, for example, for me personally, I think for many years that was a word that may not even have existed, if I say so, in my, as part of me. I knew the word exists, sisterhood, but it was like a stranger to me. It was a bit like, okay, that's maybe something from the past, from past communities, or not something that I'm familiar with. So I kind of had it on the side, but sometimes it kept like waving
like
at
full
me.
body chills as you speak.
I did not even consider that it's possible, and it gives me so much hope. So when did that theme, maybe if I call it now, become part of your life? Have you always been connected deeply to women, or is that also something that you're much more aware of now, and also the importance and the need for it? How was that for you?
I think there are multiple layers to that, as there is to everything. I have two sisters, and we're close, and there's always a lot of love between us. Not necessarily competition. We were all different people. So I grew up with that, sisterhood and supporting each other. I think growing up in Finland, I didn't really have space to be feminine. My mom and both of my sisters, they're badass in many ways, and I have so much respect for them, and I love them deeply. But I think like in many ways they're acting from that masculine perspective, and that's the culture in Finland, that we are performing and we're doing things, and I guess I felt, this is my feeling, that then if I was feminine, I was weak or I was too sensitive. So I would internally gaslight my experience, or I would just perform and try to do something different. So I think it was this internal journey for me and for all of us women. There was a time around when I was a teenager, and then you would just have this like, girls have so much drama, so I'm just going to hang out with the guys. That kind of energy, without even realizing. But I think it's because there was drama with the girls, and there was competition, and there was this like bullying kind of, energy. And I didn't like that. So I think that's another phase that all of us women go through. It's like, not to compete with women, but to collaborate. Because often women are made to feel that you need to compete with each other. I never really had that kind of energy. I've always been like, hey, women, let's connect, let's collaborate, let's do these things. So it just got different levels to it. And especially in adulthood, through my own healing and connection to myself, I'm so blessed to be surrounded by such incredible women, and such deep sisterhood. And my friends are global, so we're all over. We might see each other once a year, but the bond is so strong. There's nothing like it. There's no love like it. And I want all women to have that sisterhood. And that's a big reason why we're building this community.
So nice. Yeah, your mission is so relevant. I think we need that, especially now also as technology is advancing more and more, right? I think there's more and more at the same time also that we need to balance that with regards to connection, deep human connection, where we feel really safe. So with regards to your own space or life, you mentioned that you reflect a lot, that you live a cycle-based life. And so what are the practices that help you? I guess there's not all rosy, right? In your life, there's also situations where there may be some challenges. So how do you navigate these?
I mean, I would say that cycle-based living really transformed my life. And I went from my cycle being an issue and my periods being an issue into celebrating that and celebrating womanhood. And I will always remember the first time after being on synthetic hormones for like almost 10 years, the first time that I got my period after that. And it was like being a teenager again. It was like, oh, this is what it feels like. Like, this is what it feels like to be a woman. Like, what a celebration. How beautiful. There's no pain. There's no symptoms. And then instead of trying to push through and force every day to be the same, I celebrate the changes. You know, when I'm in my follicular phase and ovulation, the energy is high, and I go harder at the gym, and I'm super social. And that's when I schedule my podcast and interviews and meetings and all those things, because I'm hyping and I'm so extrovert. I just love everyone. And then shifting from that to the luteal phase, I'm more introverted and just execution. And I love that, to be in my own space and I get things done. And then the period is just more introspection and kind of letting go, meditating. And that's like the cycle part. But on a daily basis, I need to ground to myself. So one thing I do every morning, and to listeners, it might sound silly, but trust me, I'll add the link so that you can also tune into it. I do sensual dance. I move my body. So before I get into my mind and before I get into that work mode, I'm naked in the bathroom and I put on this playlist. I don't think about anything. I just tune in and I listen and I move my body as it feels.
It wants to move.
As it feels, as it wants. I don't care about how I look, but I also embrace my body. I'm like, oh, I look so beautiful the way I move, and I'm gorgeous. Because so often we look in the mirror, it's like, oh, I have that wrinkle there. I have the cellulite here. Or especially us as women, I think that was like a big first, I would say, for me, is like shift that perspective of being so hard on myself and being in that performance space into building from love. Like, I love to work hard and I love to just like do this project and do everything, but I do it from love. And that's such a different energetic space to build from. But I still tune in every day and I meditate and I ground and sleep and all those basic life habits that I do to kind of keep my energy so that I can build.
It's basically that nature in the end, right? It's like we have this need for movement, for sleep, for quiet and peace. And and I think in today's lives, at least in the Western world, we often have a just continuum of rush and speed and so on. So again, back to the cycle, bringing in just that, and also the trust in cycles, right? I think we sometimes try to circumvent cycles in terms of, I'm thinking of women performing all the time, even though we're in a specific phase of our cycle, just finding the courage to say, no, this is just not the time for me to do that now.
Exactly.
Already that. It's so good to have role models like you. How do you share your approach to life, and how do you work with people, women especially? I think, right?
I guess like what I'd like to share first is during this discussion, I just have this thought that I'm like, I want to share because it was such a profound moment for me. The realization of pretty much everything in life comes down to attachment and detachment. With trauma, we often get too attached or too detached. Too attached to other people and too detached from ourselves. So a big part of healing is learning how to attach from a healthy foundation to ourselves and to each other in dating, relationship, friendships, business, any outcome, anything external, and also detach. So for me, the way I function with everything is I attach and I detach. I make decisions based on that, from my body, from my mind. And that's how I also work with clients. That's how I work with companies, is how can you build that strong foundation with yourself and peel those layers, unlearn the dysfunctional detachment and attachment to then do that from a healthy place, from a nourishing place. and it transforms. It's like a light bulb when you get that. And I see my client getting that unlearning part, and then it's the beautiful, delicious tapping into sensuality and passion and pleasure, and not just in sex or intimacy, but in life. How you drink your coffee, how you take your shower. Do you take it in a rush and, I just need to wash myself? Or do you touch your skin and celebrate yourself and the taste or the sunlight on your skin?
You're describing beautifully now also, because I'm already thinking people may wonder, but okay, what if I'm not in a committed relationship, or if I'm not in a situation where I feel there's people around me for touch, for sensual experiences, for sexual experiences, but you just beautifully described we can give it all to ourselves also.
To ourselves and to each other. And the power of connecting with yourself is that then you know what connections are good for you, and you know what to attach yourself to and what to detach from. That's the beauty, but it all comes down to you.
Yeah.
And then to build on top of that foundation, it is the healing experiences. And before, I used to be in that camp of, self-develop and heal and then enter a relationship from a healthy foundation perspective. And then I grew up a little more, and I realized that, hey, this self-development is beautiful, but there's so much beauty in healing in relationships and having those healing experiences when you get triggered, and then you can work through that together, or like something from your past, and you can attach and detach together. And it just, what a gift, because we're here meant to connect. And I feel like that's what we saw today at the event with women. We were all hugging each other, holding space, sharing experiences like we used to back in the day. In the tribes, women used to gather around the fire. We would exchange wisdom and we would do all that stuff. So I'm just glad that we're now kind of recreating that space for now and for the future.
There's so much beautiful wisdom in that. And I love that we just had the launch of the Anna's detachment and attachment approach to life.
It's a first.
What a day of firsts. What I also really like about this attachment and detachment is thinking of today's world, it's often also very materialistic, right? Yes. And speaking of attachment, we cling on to material things. And I'm not saying that we should do without anything at all, no, but still there needs to be a balance as soon as there's not enough of one of the two that keeps us somehow in balance. We need to see how we can fill that cup. And with regards to detachment, I also think emotional, it sounds to me a bit like decluttering, or cleansing,
purifying,
cleaning up, purifying, exactly, to create space for more, let's say, healthier, more meaningful experiences. And again, it's this kind of critical phase with detachment, I think, a lot, if it's about releasing something that's no longer serving us, right? Of course, there may also be detachment that is healthy, right? But let's talk about the one that we want to make happen, that it's often also part of this is losing who we are, or who we have thought, or
beautiful
kind of what we created, for the image we created. And this is a bit of a scary thing, to just trust that even if we let go of certain things, new magic will come into our life.
No, and I think it's like, that's why it's so important to create that safety with yourself and build peace with emptiness, or build peace with not even being lost, but being in search. And to just pause for a moment, because we all have this need to have security and safety, and this is what I'm going to do tomorrow, and this is what I'm going to do 5 years from now on, and then I'm going to have this and I'm going to have that, because our minds like to create these safety nets and like live to expectations. But what is life really? It's not being addicted to your phone or having that, dopamine from your social media. Like, what if you just sat with yourself for an hour? And everybody listening, why don't you think back to the last time you did that, without any distractions, without any way of escaping? You were present with yourself for an hour without doing anything.
a date with oneself.
Yeah.
Assuming that we go on dates and are present, which may be sometimes a challenge as well.
Yeah.
But at least practicing.
Yeah. But maybe this will be a first.
Yes.
For a lot of people to prioritize spending time with yourself and getting to know yourself. I mean, what a better use of time to really embrace who you are and explore who you are. Not just who you've been in the past, and not just the expectations of who you should be or the different roles or masks you wear on a daily basis, but what are the different facets of you? What is that, child side? Because it's like, for example, for me, I can be very professional. I can be very determined. Usually if I decide something, I'm like, let's make it happen. Let's do this. Even on a short notice, I just get excited. And then it's just like, let's do it. And then I have this inner child. Whenever I see water or sand, I just run and I just enjoy and I scream and I, embrace it fully. Or, in a romantic way, there's like this playful side and flirty and all these things. Those are very different Annas, but they're all such like just deeply part of who I am. And I love all that I don't need to limit it. I can allow different expressions, and every day I learn something new about myself, or like, oh, there's this thing I didn't know, or maybe this is what I want to do. And, so just take time and explore who you are and who you're becoming.
Is there anything specific that you're exploring right now about yourself that you could share?
Oh my goodness, so many things. I'm definitely exploring these new business ventures. How it is like the launch. It's so exciting because before the launch, it's your baby, but it's a little secret, and you can build and you can do things and you can vision things. And then when it comes to life, it's just beautiful, and it's almost unreal. This dream that we had, this vision coming to life. So I'm exploring different sides of that and what it means, and dealing with the stress of events, or doing some things, or some challenging things happening. And like, for example, I was in 3 continents last week. And while I was doing that, because I flew from San Francisco to Finland for 2 days just to say hi to family, and then I flew to Dubai. And like 30 minutes before my flight to Dubai, there was, I don't know how much I can share, but like there was a big issue, like a very big one. So I, in that 30 minutes, I had to hire up a whole new team to like sort that out and get everything done, while traveling, while having 2 launches and stuff like that. And that's stressful. But then on the other side is the events and the community and everything we're doing. So for me, the way I see it is, what a gift. What a gift that I learned to handle these things and make these calls and do these teams, and I learn all this new stuff. And it might not feel like that at the time, because you're just like, oh, one word that I probably am not allowed to say. But then you sort through it, and it's just like,
just be here.
I know, it's true, because I don't know what I'm allowed to say, because usually you're not even allowed to say sex on like social media and stuff.
So let's talk about you're free to use words.
Yeah, and it's just like, so in that moment, but it's just like, I don't know, I even lost my thought. I was just like saying all that stuff.
That it was a gift, and that you were learning so much about.
Yeah. So every day, like as a founder, I would say being a founder is the biggest self-development course you could ever take, because you wear so many hats and you learn so many things, and you build with incredible people.
And you have, or you were, you have always been self-employed in that sense, or were you ever employed?
I have. I've been. I started my consulting company like a few years ago. I think so. Before that, I was part of Biohacker Center, like in the biohacking space, like building that community and building those things. And I love that space. Like biohacking, not only saved my life, but took me from being in the hospital to the best health of my life. And I completely reversed my medical, reversed endometriosis. And things like that. So that's been a big part of my life. Then, started my own company and then started consulting other companies and advising, and ended up building this portfolio and then launching our own ventures. So I don't know. It all just, I don't want to say it all just happened because I worked hard and I want to own that. But I feel like I've just always been guided by a passion to help people. And then I just wanted to help more people and more people. So all these ventures followed that path that in many ways I feel that my mission here on this earth is to help people reconnect. That's the whole attached, detached stuff. But it's like, how do we reconnect with ourselves? How do we reconnect with each other? And how do we reconnect with nature? And what would the world look like if we all lived that way? Imagine, just for a second, imagine what would the world look like if we all acted from a connected place with ourselves and with each other and with nature.
And authentically connected.
Yeah.
And while we're all on our journey, somehow we may be at different stages, also because we have different ages, right?
Yeah, and different experiences and ages, different everything.
I just see something like music now, where everyone contributes with their own tune, and it comes together. Because, the experience that sometimes music, there may be something a bit like a dissonance, but it's because it's all these voices coming together, it kind of levels out and it just becomes all sound of connectedness. Maybe that could be a soundtrack for
maybe we'll do Reflection Women soundtrack, maybe, or maybe, I don't know, retreat, whatever. We'll see. But I feel like we're building this community in a very community-based way.
Yeah,
it's not just like, oh, this is what we want to do. It's like, hey, women, what do you want all of us to do together? Do you want a retreat? Do you want master? What do you want? What helps you?
There will be many firsts to come.
Many firsts to come. Yeah.
And do I understand that correctly? So you do not see yourself that like located or living in a specific place, but you said before, like with the sun, with the flow, I could say as well. So there's you feel at home in different places, or you go explore, and if you don't like it, you move on. Is it a bit like that?
I would say I feel at home in myself. Yeah. So wherever I am,
home is with you.
I feel at home. There are different energies to different places. That I feel that strongly. And like Anna in Spain is a different version of Anna than Anna in Finland. Yeah. Spain is much more vibrant and flirty and fun and dancing, and then Finland is more healing, family time, calm, more introverted. Those are just two examples. But like San Francisco is, let's change the world. Big, inspired. Because San Francisco is just a collection of deeply inspiring people wanting to change the world. And beautiful nature surrounding it. And the city gets a lot of kind of trash talk from people because of some challenges. But it's like, there's so much light. There's often a deep shadow. Yeah. So for me there, there's so much space to exist in everything that you are. Dubai, I'm figuring out the energy, the vibe. For now, it feels hectic. And that's why I'm staying for a little bit longer, just kind of get the feel of the city. But I love that. I love that we can have a home within, and then we have a home within each other, and then in different locations.
Yeah, so you carry that with you, and it's for free, doesn't cost anything. Well, some maintenance may be needed, but we can also, it's our own by the beach. Yeah. You don't need a team in that sense. It's you know who you are, you have on the team, and sometimes give yourself a vacation from it, maybe at times. But that's beautiful. And reflection, just the theme of reflection is that, I mean, you said you reflect every day. Did you bring that in? I mean, it doesn't really matter who it was, but is that something that's like that is key for your life? I would imagine, right? You said daily reflection, but to make it the brand, the brand for the lingerie, because lingerie is, again, it's not typically visible, right? I mean, even though what you're creating is so beautiful, it should be. But what was the thinking and the process behind that?
We went through a couple of brainstorming sessions with different names and different brands, and we had some really good options. And then I was guiding mirror work with a client one day, and she was looking into her reflection and like how she saw herself for the first time through a positive lens.
Oh wow.
And how powerful it is for a woman to feel that, instead of self-criticism and instead of just pinpointing things, just embracing who you are, embracing your body, embracing your beauty, embracing everything. And that led me to thinking that everything we do or we say or we feel or whatever is a reflection of who we are. And that's why the brand is called Reflection, because it's also it's reflected in our choices.
Yeah.
What do you want your reflection to be like? Lingerie is intimate. So that's when you're the most kind of bare with yourself. What is your reflection? How do you want to see yourself? And what are the choices that you are making for yourself and this planet?
That's very nice. And I also know from personal experience, it's also at times a hard truth to accept, right? That the reflection we see is what we put in. I mean, it's us looking at us, so at ourselves.
And we're taught to hate ourselves, that we're never enough. So, but that's also okay. Like sometimes, you're in your luteal phase and you're just like, you just don't feel yourself. And that's totally fine. That's more than okay.
It's like
also, acceptance with that too, that life is not always just fun and flowers and cool events, like,
I would like to close with a thought that you expressed at the beginning of our conversation, so that we kind of make a circle back.
Not a first, a circle back.
A circle back. And it is about what you mentioned, that sex and intimacy and sensuality is very transformative, right? And has so many aspects. You described it beautifully, like spiritual and exactly.
Chills again.
So, to just make sure that more and more people can connect through that and embrace that. What would you think is steps that we can all take and contribute to make this,
to embrace your sensuality,
to make this just more everyday, right? As you said, it's often taboo today. It's hidden. Where do you maybe also see that things are moving? Compared to you've been on this path for a few years now. So where are we headed, and how can we help to accelerate?
I love that question. I think, and this is what I do with clients, but one of the first steps is to reconnect with your body. And a simple exercise for that is the sensual dance that I mentioned earlier. So I'll share the playlist with you and instructions with everyone who's listening to this podcast. And it's so simple, but it's so powerful. You take that time, especially when you do it in the morning, because it sets the tone for your entire day. Instead of starting it with your phone and coffee and just like dopamine through the roof and stress and everything. You take 2 minutes just to flow, just to be, just to feel. And then some other things are hunger cues. It might sound silly, but we often think, oh, this is what I need to eat. This is what I should eat. I should eat every 3 hours, or I should fast for 16 hours. And this is what I should do. And our mind is just overriding things because we're performing and When are you hungry? What is your body actually craving? Are you thirsty? Are you, I don't know, deficient in magnesium? You're craving dark chocolate, whatever it is.
Or are we craving connection maybe? But that's another
connection
topic.
Exactly. What is it? But start tuning into your cues, or when to push hard and when to rest. Knowing your body, things like that. Because all of that shows up in sex. The whole second part is connection with others. So how to be vulnerable, because sex is our most vulnerable expression and experience. And right now, most people learn how to have sex from porn. And porn is not real sex. Porn is made for visual pleasure. Actually, do we have time? I'd love to share this because
Please.
It's a little bit side note, but I feel like it's important because
we're bending time here. It's you have all the you just go.
Because from porn, because it's made for visual pleasure, people get a different perspective of what sex is. Like porn is very much pounding, and I'm sorry for this to grab. Like porn is very much pounding.
Yeah.
And then we have this issue of less than 20% women having an orgasm from penetration. It's like, no wonder why, because you're not actually ready. You don't feel fully safe in your body before being penetrated. So what changes sex and what changes that element of vulnerability and enjoyment is adding flow to sex and flowing together with your partner in different positions. And for women to move our bodies, to move our hips, to increase that blood flow. And that comes through body connection. That comes through skills too. A friend of mine, Susan Breton, is an amazing sex coach. So if you want specific sex skills, go to her. She's incredible. She lives in Marin, close to San Francisco.
And what's her name?
Susan Breton. I'll share her with you. But and she's fun. She's like very sexual energy, very different to mine. We're almost like feminine and masculine with her, but like she, a powerhouse, incredible. But with sex, with all these things, it's like how to know yourself and how to communicate with your partner and know that you can trust them, and it's a safe space that you don't need to perform.
No.
Because the biggest disconnector is I need to perform. Or like what women are often insecure about the way they look, and then men are insecure about the way they perform. So what about instead of feeling that way, that's taking you away from pleasure, that's taking you away from connection, have that difficult discussion with your partner. It's like, hey, I feel insecure, I don't know, about my nose during sex, or this is something that's happening. And you can have that healing experience from your partner. Say like, oh, I had no idea, but now I can take that into consideration.
Yeah.
And like the chills, the healing you feel just from having that and being seen, or whatever it is that you explore together, but just approach it from vulnerability and love and what you can explore together rather than how you need to perform for each other.
I love that. And I know, again, very much also from personal experience, that just once it's expressed, right, it is basically, if I use the word now, healed, or it's just as long, sometimes I feel as I keep it in myself, it becomes worse and worse and bigger and bigger until, even though it cannot go out, right, because it stays in me. But once it's put out into the world, we also see so much more of the vulnerability in others because they automatically also kind of, automatically they sense that they could do the same, right? It's maybe not everyone can always open up immediately if they are with someone that can, but it's a journey together, and that's very bonding.
No, because for example, today I shared something publicly for the first time at the event.
Yeah.
And I wasn't planning on sharing it. It just came as a download during Regan's activation. And I thought about it. I was like, there's so many women here who have experienced something similar. Let me share my experience because it's authentic and it's a big part of why I ended up building the community. And after the talk, there were numerous women who came to me and said, Anna, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing, because I felt so alone with my experience. And now I know that I'm not. And it became a bonding experience. It became a healing experience for all of us. And that's what it's all about.
So through creating a very meaningful first for yourself, you created that ripple effect.
And others for these others.
That's so nice. Thank you for all these beautiful firsts, for all you shared today.
Thank you.
For the first times, for being here on this special day also. And wishing you all the best with the flow, with the community. And we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure, and we could go on for hours. So we'll continue next time.
We will continue, and we will share the links. So thank you for that gift. yeah, until then, thanks everyone. If you like this episode, it would mean the world to us if you like it and share it with friends, family, or anyone who could need a boost in courage and love. Also, we would like to hear from you. What are your reflections, theme of today? What are your meaningful fasts? Share them with us in the comments, and we will see you next first time. Until then, much love and courage. Ciao.